Sounds good.
Okay, so I want to officially welcome everyone for joining us this evening. My name is Samantha Luria. I'm an adult services librarian for the Northville District Library. And while we can't have them come in person with their delicious food offerings, we still brought VegMichigan back to talk about all the delicious food. So Olivia from VegMichigan, I will turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Samantha. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. We're so happy you're all here. And thank you so much to the Northville District Library for hosting this event with us tonight. So happy to partner with you again. My name is Olivia, and I'm the Media and Outreach Manager at VegMichigan. Just a little bit about VegMichigan. We're the largest nonprofit in Michigan focused on promoting the benefits of a plant-based diet. We put on educational programs like this one a few times a month, host 2 large events every year, send out an awesome newsletter at the start of every month, have a YouTube channel with cooking videos and more, and have recently started a college giveaway program that encourages students to try plant-based foods for the first time for free. So a lot of good stuff going on. Here on the slide, you'll see is our website if you want to check us out and learn more about our work. And I've also listed all of our social media where we promote all of our upcoming events. We do monthly raffles where you can win prizes from local businesses. We highlight our favorite places to find plant-based food around Michigan and much more. So if you're interested in that, definitely give us a follow. And if you like what you see tonight and you want to support our work, the best ways to do this are to either make a donation or become a member. If you're thinking of donating, the majority of the donations will go to support our college giveaway program that I mentioned earlier for students who are new to plant-based eating. Each student who signs up gets a bag packed with delicious variety of plant-based foods. And we've already delivered over 150 bags in just the last few months. So it's going really well. Or if you're thinking of becoming a member, the basic membership is only $20 a year, and that really helps us out a lot as well. And you can do either of those by going to vegmichigan.org, as you see on your screen, and clicking either join to become a member or donate to donate. So thank you so much. And just a couple of notes before we get started. I want to let you all know that we will be doing a live Q&A with Chantal at the end. So please utilize the chat box throughout the presentation to ask any questions at any time. I'll keep track of all the questions asked throughout, and I'll ask them aloud for Chantal to answer at the end of the presentation. So just please keep yourself on mute for the whole presentation so that everyone's able to give Chantal their full attention. And then also lastly, we just have a very short survey that I'll share in the chat box at the end. If you could take just a couple minutes to answer a few questions, that'd really help us out. We really want to give you the kind of information you're looking for. All right, and now let me introduce your speaker for tonight. Chantal Singer is a registered dietitian nutritionist for St. Joseph Mercy Health System's Michigan Heart and Vascular Institute, teaching plant-based eating and lifestyle medicine as part of the Pritikin Intensive Cardiac Rehab Program. Chantal is very passionate about plant-based eating for human health, planetary health, and animal welfare. Take it away, Chantal.
All right, thank you, Olivia, for that introduction, and thank you to VegMichigan and Northville District Library for having me. We're going to be talking about plant-based eating today. So this presentation is really perfect for beginners, so those who haven't really dove into plant-based eating at all. But for those of you who are further along in your plant-based journey, this is also great for you too, because maybe it'll inspire some other ideas for recipes, or maybe you'll learn something you haven't heard before. So I do want to utilize the chat box today, create a little bit of community while we're here. So if everybody could write in the chat box and say a little bit about where you're at in your journey. You can maybe say you're just a beginner at plant-based, or maybe you're farther along, more experienced in plant-based. You can say maybe beginner or advanced. Go ahead and type it in the chat box. We'll see who we got here. Beginner, few years into it, beginner. Thinking about it. Awesome. Beginner, learning. Good. Looks like we got a good mix of people, a lot of beginners. Perfect. I do want to share something about the pictures that you'll see throughout the program. Might make you a little hungry, forewarning. And the pictures are mostly like, we'll be diving into specific food groups, but the pictures are more of what like a meal or snack could look like, because I wanted to make it a little more practical for those meal and snack ideas. So highlighting these pictures we've got in front, we've got Chipotle cauliflower tacos. It has a delicious cashew Chipotle sauce. In the middle is some fresh green grapes. And to the right you see is a red lentil veggie soup. All right, so let's get started. This is what we're going to be going over today. I want to share a little bit more about me and what I do. Then we'll talk about lifestyle medicine, because achieving overall health and well-being, nutrition is just one part of that. So just want to touch on those other pieces. And then we're going to explore blue zones. So blue zones are geographical areas of the world where people are statistically living longer, healthier, and happier lives. So of course we want to see what they're doing. And then I'm going to differentiate between different types of plant-based eating. There's a lot of words out there: vegan, plant-based, whole food, plant-based. So I'm going to clarify that a little bit. And then we'll dive into specific foods and beverages to include. So sprinkle in some of those health benefits. And I'll provide a sample one-day meal plan. And then we'll talk about more other plant-based products that different food companies are making. Finally, we'll go over some tips for transitioning to plant-based eating, and then share some other educational resources. Okay, so a little bit about me. As you know, I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist. First part of my career was spent in pediatric weight management at U of M. I saw children and families suffering from obesity. And more recently, in the past few months, I've been at St. Joseph Mercy Health System in the cardiac rehab program, where it's a lifestyle medicine program. I do cooking school workshops and nutrition education workshops, as well as see patients one-on-one. A little bit about my journey to plant-based is that I've been plant-based for probably about four and a half years now. And the Forks Over Knives documentary definitely got me and led me to dive deeper into some of the work of the leaders of the plant-based movement, like Dr. Campbell, Dr. Kahn, Dr. Greger, Dr. Esselstyn. And when I learned about the benefits of plant-based eating for heart health, I had to share them with my family. So my little case study is that my dad had a number of risk factors for heart disease. Actually, both of my grandparents died from heart attacks in their 50s. And before going plant-based, after going plant-based, my dad was able to drop his cholesterol 70 points. He was able to lose 30 pounds and cut down on his medications. And he's now 60 years old, heart attack free. So I'm very proud to share about that. And that's just one small example of how profound the impacts of plant-based eating, particularly whole food plant-based eating, can be. And I see it every day in clinic with my patients. And just the other day, actually, a patient shared that in a couple months, he lost 15 pounds and almost got off his blood pressure medication. So it's really powerful stuff, and I can't wait to share more. Okay, so lifestyle medicine is what I teach in clinic. We have different pillars: exercise, stress reduction. And it's really important to take a look at all of these factors. So physical activity, managing stress, avoiding toxic substances, and then getting sleep, getting adequate sleep, and then maintaining positive connections with others are all really important pieces to achieving overall health and well-being. And I wanted to share a little bit more about me on this page. So two of my favorite activities are rock climbing and cycling. But by all means, exercise doesn't have to be strenuous. Just getting, walking or doing light yoga every day can be really awesome and beneficial for the body. So I'd love to hear from you all. Go ahead and type in the chat box. What are some of your favorite ways to move your body? Yoga, love it. Walking, golf, nice. Swimming is tough. I learned that one. A lot of walking, awesome. Yeah, walking is great, especially outside. And I know that we've had some warmer weather, so it's nice to see that sunshine. Cross country skiing, awesome. Great, looks like we got a lot of good mix of things in here. All right, so next we're going to talk about blue zones. As I mentioned, blue zones are geographical areas of the world where people are statistically living longer, healthier, and happier lives. There's really low rates, if not none, of chronic diseases in these places. And so researchers went into these areas to figure out how they were living and why they had such low rates of chronic disease. And what they found was very similar to the pillars of lifestyle medicine, but a little more specific. So the top pillar is move. So a lot of people in the blue zones tend to move naturally. They're not actually, pumping iron at the gym. They're naturally getting activity in their daily life. I think they walk over generally 10,000 steps a day. And then right outlook. So purpose means having a purpose of why you're here. And then downshifting is more about that stress management, stress reduction. People in blue zones tend to have some form of downshifting, whether it be taking a nap, meditating, praying, and just taking time to relax. The next pillar is eat wisely, which of course we're going to focus on more today. The 80% rule is essentially pushing away the plate when they're 80% full. So really listening to the body's fullness and hunger cues and giving time for your stomach to tell the brain that you're full. And then the plant slant is that in these blue zones, about 90 to 95% of their diets are whole plant-based foods. So very powerful. And then wine at 5. So this one's more optional. It's just, I think, 1 or 2 regions. And it's important to note that the drinking was done socially and really just more like 1 or 2 drinks a day. And then connecting is that last pillar. So this goes with connecting with others, having that sense of community, positive relationships, and putting loved ones first. So yeah, really powerful stuff. All right. Now I'm going to differentiate between vegan, plant-based, and whole food plant-based. This image makes it really easy and simple to understand, but we'll kind of cover each one. They are all interchangeable, so it can be confusing, but these slight differences are that a whole food plant-based diet is one that focuses on minimally processed whole plant-based foods and minimizes things like oil, fats, sugar, and salt. And then a plant-based diet is one that also includes those whole foods, but maybe includes some more of those highly processed foods and oils and sugars. And then a vegan diet is one that avoids or does not consume animal products, but also vegans tend to extend their compassion to animals through goods and services. So like I said, very interchangeable, but very slight differences. Okay, and this is the vegan My Plate I wanted to share. You may have seen the USDA My Plate. This is the vegan version, very similar. I think it's a really nice, simple way to set up your meals and snacks even. I recommend having about 2 or 3 food groups for snacks and then about 4 or 5 food groups for mealtime so that we get a variety of nutrients that we need and stay full and satisfied throughout the day. So you'll see that a section is fruits, vegetables, grains with a focus on whole grains, and then proteins and plant-based sources of calcium. And we'll dive into each one of these shortly. Okay, this is Dr. Greger's Daily Dozen. If you haven't downloaded his app already, please do so. It is super easy to use. You just kind of check each box for the food groups that you've consumed that day. I have this posted on my fridge. You can print it out, post it on your fridge. It's really nice to see daily and just kind of remind yourself what kind of food you want to add in. So these are the food groups that Dr. Greger recommends that we have in our daily routines. And these are beans, berries, fruits, and then he splits up vegetables. So there's cruciferous vegetables, other vegetables, and then leafy greens. Also flax seeds, nuts, whole grains, spices, and then he also puts in there exercise and beverages, as well as not forgetting about vitamin D and vitamin B12. All right, so let's dive in. First food group is fruits. Personally, this is my favorite food group. I love fruit. All kinds of fruits are great. I mean, berries, bananas, oranges, apples, grapes, you name it. We want to get a variety of colors in. CDC recommends having at least 5 colors a day. This is there's slightly different nutrients in the different colors, so it's good to get a variety. We just want to avoid and limit fruit juice because whole fruit has dietary fiber, which helps regulate those natural sugars coming in, but fruit juice does not. So fruit juice will spike blood sugar, similarly to other sweetened beverages like Gatorade or pop. But yeah, so my favorite food group is fruit, as I mentioned, and my favorite type of fruit is berries that you see there. So we got blackberries, raspberries, and blueberries. Tons of ways to eat fruit. I mean, we can eat them on their own. We can eat them in salads. We can eat them in smoothies. You name it. So I'd love to hear from you all. What are your favorite types of fruits, and how how do you enjoy eating them? So go ahead and type in the chat box. Ooh, frozen berries. Yeah, I love frozen berries for smoothies, but I also just love thawing them out. You can thaw them out and they're a nice treat. Or frozen grapes are actually a nice treat too. Oh, frozen grapes, someone mentioned that. Mango. Ooh, yeah, some dried fruits are super delicious too. Oh, I actually just went to Aldi the other day and I found this at Trader Joe's too, freeze dried fruit. So it's not gonna have that water content in there. So it could, but it still has all the dietary fiber. So maybe just drink a glass of water with it if you have diabetes or anything like that. But great, thanks for sharing, everybody. Okay, so that next food group is vegetables. Again, we want to eat the rainbow, try to get a variety of colors in each day. And as Dr. Greger split it up, we've got other vegetables, cruciferous vegetables, and leafy greens. So cruciferous vegetables, cruciferous is, it describes the type of plant species, means like cross-bearing. And types of vegetables that fall in this category are Brussels sprouts, bok choy, broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, and all of these are really powerful cancer fighters. So it's good to include at least a half cup or a cup of these a day. And other vegetables, all different kinds are great. Carrots, peppers, squash, beets, peppers, you name it. And then leafy greens are another separate category. So leafy greens are some of the most nutrient dense foods on the planet. And they're also, some of those darker leafy greens are high in calcium as well. So it's a really great plant-based source of calcium to include every day. Leafy greens like kale, spinach, arugula, Swiss chard, beet greens, like that. And actually the picture to the right that we see is a salad. So the base is Swiss chard. And then we've got beets on there. And then, so those are the vegetables. And then we've got some nuts and seeds. There's actually some hemp hearts, some crushed almonds, and not pictured, it's just a balsamic vinegar dressing. So I love salads. You can have vegetables in so many different ways: salads, stir fries, pastas, sandwiches, wraps, you name it. We can get really creative with different vegetables, side dishes, soups. Love soups. So I'd love to hear from you. Everybody type in the chat, what is your favorite vegetable, and or what is your favorite way to eat vegetables? Oh, and smoothies. Yeah. Greens are a great way to get into smoothies. Brussels sprouts, sweet potatoes. Ooh, I've been on a sweet potato kick. I love that. Asparagus, good. Awesome. So yeah, all raw and cooked vegetables are good to eat too. Okay, so we all know eat your fruits and vegetables. They're good for you, but why are they good for us? There's tons of nutrients in there. So they're packed with vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, phytochemicals, dietary fiber. They're high in water. So for all these reasons, they're going to be good for hydration. They're going to be good for weight management, boosting the immune system, reducing inflammation, reducing risk of disease, and helping achieve that overall good health. And the picture we see to the right is that green smoothie. So we talked about, someone mentioned vegetables and smoothies, and this is a really simple recipe. It's just spinach, frozen mango, and frozen pineapple and water blended up, and a great, delicious, sweet snack with getting in your greens. Okay, next food group we've got is whole grains. So two types of grains, right? We got refined grains and then whole grains. So refined grains, go through a process. You can think like anything made of white flour, white bread, white pasta, white rice. These grains go through a processing and lose part of the grain that has a lot of nutrition in it. So whole grains have all part of the grain intact. They've got the bran, the germ, and the endosperm, which has a lot of vitamins, minerals, and some protein as well. But that bran layer and then the germ layer gets removed in processing for those white flour, white bread type of products. And so we lose some of that fiber, we lose some of those vitamins and minerals. And so it's best to choose whole grains when possible, grains that go through little to no processing, like oats, quinoa, barley, corn, farro, all great options, whole wheat couscous. And off to the side here, we have some classic bowl of oatmeal. So the oats are the whole grain, of course, and it's actually mixed with a little bit of peanut butter, some soy milk, and then you see ground flax seeds on there with banana and blueberries. So lots of great ways to eat whole grains. We can have them for breakfast and porridge type of dishes. We can have whole grains as part of lunch and dinners, as part of stir fries and pasta, whole grain pastas, and on salads as well. Lots of great options for whole grains. So go ahead and type in the chat box, what is your favorite whole grain? Or maybe what is a whole grain that you want to try new? And what is your favorite way to eat it? I think by far I would have to say oats are mine because I have them just about every morning. But I also love farro. Farro is another favorite. I just had that for dinner actually, with peas and mushrooms. All right, brown rice, popcorn. Want to try farro? Highly recommend farro. It's like a nuttier, chewier, heartier version of brown rice. Super delicious. Oats, popcorn, quinoa. Yeah, awesome. Good. Thanks for sharing, everybody. Okay, so whole grain benefits, health benefits. Whole grains, as I mentioned, they have the whole grain intact. So we've got all different parts, the germ, the bran, the endosperm. So we're getting lots of dietary fiber. We're also getting some plant protein in there. So the whole grains kind of spill over into that plant protein category. But we have especially a lot of B vitamins in whole grains, and these are really good for long-lasting energy. Minerals, especially like zinc, iron, and magnesium. So really good for muscles, really good for the heart. Really helpful for controlling blood sugars because of that fiber, and fiber is really filling, so it's great for weight management as well. And the picture that you see here off to the right is the whole grain is actually the corn tortilla there. And then the topping is mango and black bean mixture. This is a forks over knives recipe. I highly recommend you try it. It's so easy to make and it's super delicious. So I've got like avocado, black beans, mango, cilantro, red pepper, and some onion. There's some hot sauce on there too. So super delicious. Okay, next we've got plant-based protein. Now, I love busting this myth. It's everyone always wonders, when they're going into plant-based eating, how are you going to get enough protein? And there's no need to worry. Protein deficiency is super rare. We can get all the essential amino acids that we need from plants, and by including a variety of sources. And it all adds up throughout the day. So beans, lentils, nuts, seeds, soy foods, whole grains, as I mentioned, have some plant protein too. So with beans, there's all different types of beans. We can have kidney beans, black beans, chickpeas, white beans, cannellini beans, you name it. We can make tacos, burritos, put them on salads, throw them in soups, even stir fries, pastas. We can throw beans in a lot of things. Hummus, we can make hummus, black bean hummus, regular hummus, black bean burgers, plant-based burgers. And then lentils, so all different types of lentils, red, yellow, green, brown. Red and yellow kind of, they lose their shape when they cook, so they're better for soups and chilies and things. Green and brown are gonna stay more intact, so they're better for things like salads or like a lentil sloppy joe or something. Nuts, so all different kinds of nuts, cashews, almonds, walnuts, you name it. Great sources of protein and fiber and some healthy fats. And then seeds, all different kinds of seeds. You can do like trail mixes with these nuts and seeds. We can make a cashew sauce, different types of sauces with almonds or cashews. And actually the picture to the right, I'll talk about the mac and cheese. It's a vegan mac and cheese, delicious. It's made with the sauce is made with cashews, nutritional yeast, garlic powder, onion powder, a little bit of salt and pepper, and turmeric. Actually, turmeric is gonna give it that yellow color. And then the vegetable with it is some green beans. And I believe there was actually chickpea pasta in there. So yeah, a lot of food companies are making lentil pasta, chickpea pasta, which is really high in protein and fiber. So it's a great substitute to white pasta, as well as whole grain pasta too. But so soy foods like tofu, tempeh, and edamame, these are great to include. Stir fries, actually tofu can go in smoothies and make it creamy. You can make a tofu sour cream, you can make a tofu cheese or tofu ricotta. Edamame is great in stir fries. Edamame is actually really great as a snack. You can buy it shelled or pre-shelled. And then soy milk, unsweetened soy milk is a nutritious plant-based beverage. You can use that for smoothies, drink it on its own, drink it in cereal, put it in oatmeal, a lot of different options. Also, you can put soy milk into soup. So I was making a tomato soup the other day, and you can put soy milk, in soups, and it'll give it a creamy or a bisque type of feel. And then whole grains, as I mentioned just before, we can get a lot of protein, especially quinoa. Quinoa is one of those foods that has a lot of the essential amino acids that we need. And nutritional yeast is a great source of protein. As I mentioned, that's in the cheese sauce, the vegan cheese sauce there to the right. Nutritional yeast is going to give a cheesy flavor. We can put it on popcorn, pizza, pasta, make sauces out of it, use it in even soup salads, you name it. And then even vegetables. So actually, you'd be surprised, even an apple has like a gram of protein. Some vegetables like green peas, broccoli, and sweet potatoes have higher amounts of protein. I think a sweet potato has about 3 grams or so. So all these sources, I mean, everything that we eat, as long as you're getting a variety of nutrients, it's really hard not to get enough protein. So lots of delicious plant options to choose from. I'd love to hear in the chat box, what is your favorite plant-based protein, or how do you, or how do you like to prepare it? Or what's something that you want to try new? Go ahead and type it in the chat box. Nuts, cashews. Yes, nuts and hummus. Yeah. Oh, so good. Kidney beans, nuts. Awesome. Almonds and smoothie. Great. Thanks for sharing, everybody. Okay. So we get a lot of health benefits from eating plant-based proteins. Plant-based proteins have 0 cholesterol. They're very low in fat, and they're really high in vitamins, minerals, and dietary fiber. So especially zinc, iron, calcium, and magnesium. They're going to provide all the building blocks we need for healthy muscles and tissues. It's also going to help with our immune system and healing and long-lasting energy, weight management because of that fiber, and helpful for controlling blood sugars as well. Also helpful for heart health. So beans in particular are really high in that soluble fiber, which is great for heart health. And this picture that we see off to the right is of a teriyaki tempeh, super delicious. We got some, so that's the main protein there, and there's some sesame seeds on top, also a good source of protein. And it's topped over brown rice, so there's actually going to be some protein in that brown rice as well, and then a side of steamed garlic broccoli. And there's actually going to be probably a small amount of protein in that broccoli as well. So yeah, that's a really, really delicious meal. I highly recommend it. All right, next category we got is calcium-rich plant foods and beverages. So unsweetened fortified plant milks, particularly soy milk, is going to have the most nutritional benefits and more of that protein. But oat milk, I would say, is the creamiest. I love oat milk. It's super delicious. Almond milk, cashew milk. There's tons of companies these days making things. I can't keep up. I think there's milks with like pea protein. There's flax milk. So give them all a try. See what you like. We can use these, like I said, we can drink these nut milks plain. We can put them in oatmeal or cereal. We can use them as creamer in coffee or tea. And like I said, the soups, we can make creamier soups. A lot of different things we can do with nut milks. Beans and lentils are great sources of calcium as well. So really great to think about food as a whole package, right? So I've already mentioned a lot of these foods, but we don't need to highlight one single nutrient, but their foods come packaged with an abundance of nutrients that all kind of synergistically work together. But anyway, so more of those higher sources of calcium: chia seeds, poppy seeds, those leafy greens, as I mentioned before, good idea to include those every day. Oranges, broccoli, soybeans, figs, almonds, just a couple other food sources that are higher in calcium. And the picture that you see up to the right is of a little Asian bowl stir fry. It's got tofu, so it's calcium set tofu. There's a lot of calcium coming from there. There's going to be some calcium coming from the broccoli as well. And we've got a faux broth and some brown rice noodles and some green onions and fresh herbs. Oh, actually, everybody share with me, what is your favorite plant-based milk? Or one that you want to try new? Or a way that you like to consume your nut milk? Soy milk, oat, cashew, almond. Oh yeah, Oatly's good, friend. Tasty. Awesome, thanks for sharing, everybody. Okay, so of course, calcium is good for our bones, right? And our nervous system, our muscles, and is helpful for bone health. And off to the right, we see pictures of different types of plant-based milks. I added in that chocolate milk. That chocolate milk would fall into the category of plant-based or vegan, not necessarily whole food plant-based. It's got some sugar, but it's a super delicious treat. Super delicious. Okay, next we've got omega-3 rich sources. So you may have noticed that Dr. Greger had flax seeds on his daily dozen checklist. And that is because flax seeds are one of the highest plant sources of omega-3 fatty acids, the ALA. And chia seeds, hemp parts, walnuts are all good sources as well. Or algal oil or supplements. We can take EPA and DHA daily as well to get those omega-3 fats. And this is one of the pictures I showed before of the oatmeal. So the flax seeds are on top, and you'll notice that they're ground up. We want to buy them ground or consume them ground because we can absorb the nutrients better this way. All right, and a lot of great benefits from these healthy fats. Research has shown they're really great for brain health, reducing inflammation, helping with conditions like depression, anxiety, and also good for heart disease as well. And this picture that you see up to the right is a chia seed pudding. So this makes for a great snack or dessert even. It's nut milk mixed with chia seeds. So it's about a half cup of nut milk with 1 to 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. And if you let that sit for about roughly 30 minutes, give or take, maybe even longer, the chia seeds will gellify. So you can kind of see it has a little bit of a pudding-like texture. Add some vanilla extract to there, or you could have a vanilla nut milk. A little sweetener is optional if you wanted. I've got some frozen raspberries on top there, but it's super delicious. All right, next we've got herbs and spices. So herbs and spices, we have tons to choose from. This is what's going to help flavor our food. Basil, oregano, thyme, cinnamon, cumin, garlic, cloves, you name it, chili powder, ginger. They're all great options depending on which type of dish you're preparing. It's great to include all different types. Fresh or dried is okay, or is great actually. All is great. So of course, the herbs and spices are going to help enhance the taste, the flavor, the aroma of the food, but also the color. So it'll help make the dish more aesthetically pleasing. Herbs and spices often act as garnishes too, to help the looks of the food. It makes it pretty. Pretty food always tastes better, I think. And they're also not only are they great for taste and flavor and all that, but they also have health benefits. So a lot of these herbs and spices are anti-inflammatory, so they can really help with inflammation. And some in particular have been shown to be particularly helpful for various chronic diseases as well. And some are anti-carcinogenic as well. I think oregano is one of those that is really anti-carcinogenic. Oh, actually, so I wanted to share that basil is my favorite fresh herb. As I mentioned, I made a tomato basil soup with lentils at work the other day, and it's just delicious. I love it. So go ahead and type in the chat box, what is your favorite herb or spice, and or how do you like to use it? Someone said dill, ground, dried spices. Yeah, ground and dried are still very healthful and should be included. Basil rules, yeah, pasta, love it. Good pasta sauce. Ginger and smoothie is awesome. Yeah, turmeric. Turmeric actually has some impressive research I saw about helping prevent Alzheimer's actually and dementia. It's been shown to be helpful for removing plaque in the brain. So that's great to include, really, really powerful. Ooh, 21 seasoning salute from Trader Joe's. That one is so good. That's such a good combo. Thanks for sharing, everybody. Okay, next category, we've got our probiotic foods and beverages. So these are fermented foods and beverages that have live active cultures. Something like raw sauerkraut, pickled vegetables, kimchi, tempeh is a fermented soybean product, miso, sourdough bread. With sourdough bread, you'd want to make sure it's fresh rather than something processed on the shelf to really get those benefits. And then kombucha, of course. And then the picture you see up to the right is pickled beets. So probiotics are really great for gut health. They're really good for increasing the good bacteria in our gut. And they're also linked to a healthy immune system and good mental health as well. And the picture that you see off to the right is of raw sauerkraut. Okay, so with all these whole plant-based foods, we got to get creative and use different condiments and those herbs and spices too to make delicious meals. And some foods or some condiments on the table are mustards, vinegars, all types of vinegars, balsamic vinegar, red wine vinegar, apple cider vinegar, soy sauce, coconut aminos, tamari. For those who have high blood pressure or are at risk for heart disease or are already in the disease process, it's recommended to keep the things like soy sauce or tamari to a low amount because of the high sodium content. But same thing with salsas and hot sauces. Talked about nutritional yeast already. Lemon juice, lime juice works great in marinades or dressings as well. Cashew-based dressings. So I love cashews. They're so versatile. But the picture you see up to the right is of a 100% vegan Caesar salad. It's so delicious. It's got cashews, I think nutritional yeast, a little bit of soy sauce, garlic powder, onion powder, maybe some lemon juice, and might be forgetting something, I think some water maybe, but it's super delicious. And then there's actually a hemp and nutritional yeast Parmesan cheese on there, and some roasted chickpeas, which are super delicious. Roasted chickpeas are, I'm getting off topic here, but they're a great little snack. Roast them in the oven. So the other thing I put on here were added sweeteners like molasses, maple syrup, date syrup, and oils. You'll notice that these have a star next to them because the more that we consume oils and sugars, the more we'll be leaning towards just vegan and plant-based and not whole food plant-based. So whole food plant-based emphasizes little to no sugar, salt, and fat added to foods and meals. All right, so healthy beverages, water, of course, body's best friend. Infused waters, if you don't like water, try lemon water, put berries in your water. Lime, green teas, herbal teas are great options as well. Coffee, fresh and cold pressed vegetable juices. Again, focus on the vegetables, not so much the fruit juices. Plant-based smoothies, unsweetened plant milks, all great options for beverages. And actually, golden milk, if you guys heard of that, it's like a turmeric latte. You can do nut milk with like turmeric, cinnamon, ginger, and maybe a little bit sweetener if you want, and it's super delicious. All right, so water, as I mentioned, body's best friend. This is Harvard, to the left is Harvard's recommendations for how much water we should consume each day based on age and gender and particular stage of life. And so, yeah, take a look at that, compare where you're at, see if you're meeting your needs, or maybe you're not getting enough, or maybe you're exceeding it. So yeah, lots of things that water can do in the body is it's going to help prevent constipation. It's going to help dissolve minerals and vitamins, and it's going to moisten our tissues, keep us hydrated and energetic. All right, so I kind of sprinkled in the health benefits to whole food plant-based eating, but overall we can lower cholesterol, lower blood pressure, lower blood sugar, prevent and even reverse some of these chronic diseases like diabetes and heart disease, and lower risk of cancer is a really great benefit as well. And improving mood, energy levels, and just overall higher quality of life are some of the benefits to whole food plant-based eating. And the picture that you see off to the right is an avocado chocolate pudding. So that was avocado, banana, cocoa powder, I think a little bit of maple syrup, and some probably some nut milk to blend it up, and some raspberries on top. Super delicious as a snack, breakfast, dessert, you name it. All right, so here's an example of a meal plan. You'll notice that there's not really any measurements on here because everybody's caloric requirement is different each day. So always recommend people to listen to their body's fullness and hunger cues of when to start and stop eating. But this is just one example of what a breakfast, lunch, and dinner could look like, with some snacks in between. And these are all things you've seen pictures of today. So the oatmeal with flax seeds, blueberries, and soy milk. Morning snack could be a handful of walnuts and some fruit. Lunch could be a chickpea salad sandwich, which you see over to the right, and that is a super delicious sandwich. Another forks over knives recipe, highly recommended. It's like chickpeas, tahini, red onion, maybe some pickles, a lot of good stuff in there. And I think Dijon mustard. And then that's paired with white sweet potato fries. And then after noon snack could be that green smoothie that we saw with some spinach and fruit, air pop popcorn with some nutritional yeast that I mentioned, get that cheesy flavor. And then a dinner could be that teriyaki tempeh we saw with brown rice and broccoli. So again, noticing that we're following that plate method, right? So trying to have a couple food groups at snack time, and 4 or 5 food groups at meal times. Get all variety of nutrients. Oops. Okay, so now I'm going to get into a little bit about plant-based eating in general. So there's tons of food companies these days making vegan products and plant-based products. It's never been a better time to be a vegan. You can find any animal product that you want veganized these days. You may have seen things like Impossible Meat. There's a lot of fast food restaurants advertising the Impossible Burger or the Beyond Burger as well in restaurants. And chicken, like turkey, you can find fake deli slices. Tofurkey is a couple brands. There's a lot of brands and food companies, as I mentioned, making these products, not limited to this list, but there's just a couple examples that are common in the grocery stores that you might see. So for pork substitutes, those Beyond brats and sausages, or jackfruit actually is a type of breadfruit that makes a good pulled pork substitute. Great with barbecue sauce. And then for deli, I kind of mentioned deli, they're even making vegan hot dogs, and yeah, vegan chicken nuggets too. Okay, so dairy alternatives, yogurt, ice cream, milk, butter, you name it, it's there. Personally, I like the Mayokos cheese the best. I think it's some of the better quality and super tasty. Cheeses out there, but sour cream, cream cheese, it's all out there, you name it. So we can find it all. I'm curious if anybody has tried any of these plant-based products that we've seen so far. Does anybody have one in particular that they loved, a particular brand name? Go ahead and type that in the chat. No idea. Well, maybe you can try one out. Siggy's non-dairy yogurt. Oh yeah, I love that Silk plain yogurt. I've been having that actually every so often with some fruit. Morningstar breakfast soy patties. Yeah, I get breakfast soy sausage, Earth Balance with butter, Gardein crab cakes. Wow, I have not seen the Gardein crab cakes. Great, thanks for sharing, everybody. All right, so plant-based seafood alternatives, things like tuna. I actually just tried some. Thank you, Olivia, or whoever that was from VegMichigan who gave me the samples of the vegan tuna. That was pretty good. Fried fish, that Gardein, someone mentioned that Gardein brand. They're making fishless sticks. And then crab cakes. So I'm going to have to add the Gardein crab cakes to my PowerPoint. I didn't know they were making that. I can't keep up with all these products that are being made. But we can also make crabless cakes from hearts of palm. So it'd be, yeah, there's tons of recipes online. Just look it up. Super delicious. And then egg alternatives, you may have seen the Just Egg. I've seen it in some restaurants that's in stores, like everyday stores, Kroger, whatever. Looks similar to eggs if you look at the picture to the right. It definitely looks like eggs. We can also do tofu scramble. That would be more whole food plant-based actually. We just press tofu into a pan, drain it of course, and just press it into a pan and it'll mimic scrambled eggs, but you can put turmeric in there and it'll turn yellow and even more so look like eggs. And then we can also create flax and chia eggs. So that's also more whole food plant-based, just mixing flax, ground flax or chia with water and then letting it sit for a few minutes. It starts to gellify and create a good binder for baked goods and things like pancakes and that. Okay. So next topic is frozen meals, pre-made products. There's tons, not limited to this list. You may have seen Amy's is a really popular brand. They've got this like mac and cheeses, they've got pizza, they've got burritos, they've got stir fries, you name it. They've got soups. Lots of great products to try. I found these types of products at Trader Joe's, Aldi's, Kroger, Whole Foods, and more. Another thing to mention is that you can also find a lot of products online. So especially products that are more dry goods and can be shipped from anywhere. Yeah, check online. I also added that vegan certification at the bottom there because that is definitely a sure way to know that a product is vegan. All right, some other tips for going plant-based. So my number one thing is finding your why. Why do you want to go plant-based? Is it for your health? Do you have a family history of chronic disease that you're trying to avoid? Do you have a chronic disease you're trying to reverse or treat? Or do you care about the environment? Do you care about the environment and helping reduce your carbon footprint and yeah, using less resources. Also, or it could be animal welfare. So caring about how the animals are treated in factory farms. Whatever speaks to you, lean towards that and learn more about it. So stay educated, use books, documentaries, websites, podcasts, you name it, learn more. And that will motivate you further to keep transitioning towards more plant-based eating. Getting support is definitely recommended. So behavior changes are always easier when we do it with another person and have someone holding us accountable. And it's just more fun that way too, because having support is great. Next thing is experiment. So find out what you like. There's so many different combinations of meals and snacks and foods, plant foods that you can have. So if you make something that's a total failure, I've been there, don't give up, keep going, write down what works and write down what doesn't. So you don't do that again. And then you figure out what does work and, find, it doesn't have to be, an overnight thing. Gradual changes are great too. Maybe spend, 1 day a week or 2 days a week, say, I'm going to cook vegan or plant-based for these nights. That can really be a great start. Staying positive is really important. So it's really hard to achieve overall health and wellness if we have any negative self-talk. So definitely keep up that positive self-talk. And everybody has their own path on their journey. So if you slip up, don't feel bad. Just reframe and start again the next day. So supplementing is also very important if you're diving entirely into plant-based or vegan. The most necessary nutrients are vitamin B12, iodine, and vitamin D. Vitamin D, I'd argue, is important for everybody in Michigan right now in these winter months as we're not getting sunlight. So important to keep in mind. All right, so here's a bunch of resources. Olivia is going to share these. I forget which method she's going to post these. She'll share that. But there's books, recipe websites, some of my favorite documentaries and podcasts. One thing I recommend too is, like I said, if you have a family member or if you have a family history of chronic disease or you already have a chronic disease, check out one of these books or resources that are geared towards that chronic disease, and that can really help heal, prevent, and treat and reverse those diseases. Here are my references. And before I take questions, I did want to mention that I'm really excited to share. I'm going to be on Fox 2 News Detroit tomorrow morning, sometime between 9:20 to 9:35 a.m. I have a 5-minute cooking segment, so I'm going to be making a hearty lentil chili, and it's just going to be about 5 minutes between that time frame, but you can watch online. And it probably will be recorded as well. So yeah, join me if you can there. But anyways, I'm happy to take any questions now. Thank you all so much for being here and learning more about plant-based nutrition. I'm really happy to share about it and see the movement keep growing.
Hi, great. Sorry, I just I had to unmute myself or get unmuted by the host. Thanks so much, Chantal. That was wonderful. First off, I'm just sharing in the chat box a link to a Google Doc that I created that just lists all of the resources and references that Chantal mentioned on her last 2 slides. So if anyone wants to take a look at that and have that as a reference, there you are in the chat box. And okay, yeah, we have some questions already. So let's get going. The first one from a while back asked, what can you substitute if you have peanut and tree nut allergies? I'm not sure exactly what reference they were talking about, maybe just protein wise.
Yeah, so all those sources of protein are good options, beans, lentils, whole grains, even some vegetables like peas. But I think if you're thinking of like a nut butter substitution, I would gear more towards seeds if you can. They're making like sunflower butter is really not similar. I mean, it's got a little bit different taste, but it's similar to like peanut butter. And then other seeds like pepitas or sunflower seeds themselves would be good options. And tahini is a sesame seed butter, so that's a little bit more savory, but all good options.
Absolutely. Okay. Someone asked about tomatoes when talking about good fruits. I think just checking to see if tomatoes are good as well.
Yeah, tomatoes are great. They're really high in antioxidants, particularly this antioxidant called lycopene, which is really good for heart health and reducing inflammation. And actually tomatoes, so when I talked about the blue zones, one of the blue zones areas is in Italy and in Greece, and both of those areas, tomatoes were a big part of their diets. And as I mentioned, these are people that are living really long and healthy and happy lives. Of course, there's such thing as food sensitivities though. So if that is the case for you, then maybe tomatoes wouldn't be as good. But in general, tomatoes are awesome to include.
Absolutely. Another question, it was a bit vague. Someone just asked, are low carb wraps good? I'm not sure if they were asking, do you have any good recommendation for low carb wraps or just generally the health benefits of low carb wraps?
Yeah, no, I'm really happy to answer this. So with low carb, with plant-based eating, we're pro carb. So carbs are not something to fear. When I was talking about the refined grains versus whole grains, refined grains are the ones that are gonna, if we eat too much of them, they can negatively impact our health. So things like white bread, white flour. So if the wraps are low carb and they're made with white flour, that's not gonna be as nutritious and filling and that as a whole grain tortilla wrap. And also, so for those who are trying to lower their sodium intake, breads and things, crackers and things can be a big source of sodium. So if anybody's heard of the Ezekiel brand, it's a sprouted whole grain. They have bread, they have English muffins, they have tortillas, and there's no salt or low sodium in their products. So that would be a good option.
All right, we have a few people, it looks like, who are interested in the teriyaki tempeh recipe, asking if you could share it. Did you get that from one of the websites or make it up yourself?
So I actually created that one myself. A lot of times in the kitchen, I don't always follow a recipe. I just kind of wing things together. So I apologize, I don't have a recipe on that. But
I'm
type it
sure
in.
though,
I
if
mean,
you
this
just,
is my recommendation is just like, if you want to find something, just type it in and, type in whatever you're looking for, and I'm sure something will come up.
absolutely. And there are some in the Google Docs that I shared, the Google Docs I shared earlier, there are some recipe websites
Yeah.
in there as well that have a lot of great options if you're just looking for some place to start. So definitely check that out.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, someone in general just asked for the recipes from all the photos in the presentation. I know that's a lot. I know you pointed out some specific, I think, are from like Forks Over Knives and other
Yeah, a
things.
majority of them. So I would say a lot of them are unfortunately just me throwing things together, not really following the recipe. But the few I did mention were Forks Over Knives. So that'd be my good recommendation. It's all whole food, plant based there. So check out Forks Over Knives for sure. They have an app too.
Absolutely. It looks like Samantha is saying that an easy teriyaki sauce is 3 parts soy sauce to 5 parts maple syrup.
There you
So
go.
if anyone wants to try that out, sounds good to me. Yeah, create any good sauce. You can marinate tempeh or whatever you want in it.
Mhm.
Okay. Someone said, what are aminos and what are they good for? Or what are aminos and why are they good for you? I think after you mentioning coconut aminos.
Yeah, so there's coconut aminos, there's liquid aminos. I can't recall where liquid aminos is coming from. Coconut aminos is, of course, coming from coconut. And it's similar to soy sauce. So it's got it's similar to soy sauce taste, but it's a great alternative for those who have like maybe celiac, who can't have the gluten. Um, and yeah, it's just a slightly different soy sauce alternative.
I like coconut aminos a lot. So it's kind of a comment, but maybe you can speak to it briefly. Someone says it seems so many of the alternative products are soy-based, and then they put estrogen in parentheses, possibly talking about a concern for too much estrogen in soy products.
Yeah, so there's a lot of research now. Check out nutritionfacts.org. Dr. Greger has a lot of great videos on soy and what we've learned. So if I'm getting it right, what we thought is that the soy, or what we know now is that the soy actually attaches to a different estrogen receptor. So it actually is helpful for cancer and not harmful for cancer. So check out nutritionfacts.org. Dr. Greger has a lot of short videos that can help explain that a little bit more in depth. But soy is great for those who don't have allergies or intolerances. Soy is definitely great to include on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
I would say
And it,
that going organic is best bet though for soy.
absolutely. And in general, for many other questions as well, nutritionfacts.org just has a
Yeah,
wealth of
just go.
information on basically any subject you can imagine. So definitely explore that if you have more questions.
Yep.
Okay, someone asked, what or are some kind of olives less processed than others? I guess just general, are some kind of olives better for you than other olives?
Actually, I don't know the answer to that. I'm not too sure. I know, yeah, a lot of canned products or jarred olives can be high in salt. So just compare what options you have available to yourself and try to go for the most helpful one, or most nutritious ones or low sodium ones. And as to the differences in types of olives, I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up.
Someone asked, can you recommend any good plant-based cookbooks? Anything specifically used?
I have the Instant Pot vegan one, but I just use mostly recipes and websites. I can't speak to whole cookbooks, but check out a lot of people like whole food plant-based or plant-based blogs, vegan blogs. Sometimes they'll have their own cookbooks. But yeah, the Instant Pot one is good, but that's the only hard copy I have. I do everything online, so apologize.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Samantha's saying in the chat, Minimalist Baker is good. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, in general, there are recipes for basically any vegan option or plant-based option you want. And I'm sure the Northville Library probably has some plant-based cookbooks as well. I would assume Samantha could speak to that.
A million, yes.
A
I'd
million,
be
yeah.
happy to walk people over. We have a ton,
Absolutely.
so many.
There you go.
And Dr. Greger from nutritionfacts.org that we mentioned earlier also has 2 really great cookbooks as well. If you
Oh yeah, how not to die and how not to diet. Yeah, that's
yeah.
all the books are great.
Okay. Someone asked, how can dates help us? Are they good for us?
Yeah, dates are awesome. So they're good in as a sweetener to certain dishes because they are very sweet in their dried fruits. So don't want to go too over the top with them, but they're definitely healthful to include, and they've got fiber helping regulate that sugar coming in. So yeah.
Absolutely. Another question, good sources of iron for kids who eat plant-based diets?
Yeah, absolutely. So beans are really great sources of iron. Lentils are great sources of iron. Whole grains are great sources of iron. Iron fortified cereals, whole grain cereals are good options. Nuts, peanut butter is a good source of iron. I just want to watch out for any oils or like partially hydrogenated oils or sugars in the peanut butter. One tip for boosting iron absorption, though, is that we want to include some source of vitamin C in there. Vitamin C helps boost iron absorption. So, for example, if you're having a bowl of iron fortified bran flakes, throw some strawberries in there. If you're having beans on a taco, squirt some lime juice on there. Kind of pair foods together.
Very nice. And then it looks like the last question is someone's just asking where you find nutritional yeast.
Most grocery stores will have it. I know Kroger has their own Simple Truth brand. Bragg's has a brand, that's BRAGG has a brand. You can also find nutritional yeast online. I think I had like a Nutrilicious is the brand my mom got me. Thanks, Mom. And then, yeah, most grocery stores should have it. So if you can't find it, though, it should be in the spices or the baking aisle. If you can't find it, though, always check with someone at the store. It might just be hiding somewhere.
Absolutely. All right. Well, it looks like that seems to be all the question. Well, I guess just one last. Is there a specific milk substitute you recommend for children who are young, between 1 and 2 years old?
Yeah, go for soy milk, unsweetened. If there's no allergy or intolerance, go for unsweetened fortified soy milk. That's going to have the most health benefits, especially for a young one.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Chantal. That was wonderful. I'm just going to really quick in the chat put the survey for VegMichigan that I mentioned earlier. We'll just take a few moments to fill out. If you would do that, I'd really appreciate it. And Samantha, I don't know if you have anything you want to say, but thank you so much to the Northville District Library for hosting tonight. And thanks so much, everyone, for joining us.
Yes, thank you both. Chantal, that was so informative. I really appreciate that. I'm always learning new things. I've been vegan for like 4 years and it's still great. So it's wonderful. It's not just for beginners, but so informative. Yes, and follow up, please fill out that survey for VegMichigan. I will send out links to the resources that were shared, as well as once this video, I recorded it, once it has, I don't know, once it's been posted online, I will share the link in an email. So you get all of those things in a day or two. So look out for those emails.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Samantha.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
And thanks everyone for coming. Have a great evening.
Take care. Bye.